Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. Welcome to What's on Your Pedalboard. This is Mateus Asato. It's great to have you here, man.
Hey, Mitch. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man,
It's been a great time.
A pleasure to have you here at Sweetwater with us. You were demonstrating some pedals for Jackson Audio.
Yeah, I look forward to explain this a little bit.
Yeah.
And play, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we definitely want to catch some playing from you. So you're kind of fresh back into the United States.
Yeah, man. After a year and a half being stuck in Brazil, the quarantine and, the COVID situation, feels good to be back in the United States. It's been a busy season so far. So
Good.
2 weeks ago, I was doing the Jump at Ruchi camp, which was so inspiring. And, I finally got the chance to meet one of my big heroes.
Right.
And now I'm here in Fort Wayne doing some stuff with you guys.
Right.
It's been great. And a week before this, I was with Bruno Mars in Las Vegas doing the residency shows over there.
Nice.
It's been good. Very challenging, but very interesting.
You're covering some ground.
Yeah, man, it's been great. It feels good to, play live music again.
Right.
Because this is pretty much my first music activity since COVID hit. So
yeah,
it's good.
Good. Well, I'm so glad you're back out there making music again. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So we have your pedalboard here in front of us and lots of Jackson Audio on there. Tell us the connection to Jackson Audio.
It's the Jackson Marathon. Well, I think everything started back in 2015 when I was touring with Tori Kelly. And back in the days, Jackson was doing the amplifiers. Mm-hmm. And I, as a big fan of Nigel Droff from Hughes Song, I think he was using a lot, and also Robert McIntosh was using those amps, and I was like, dude, I would love to try them. And I think I hit them up on Instagram. I don't remember actually how the connection happened, but anyway, and I was playing in Dallas, and this is where they based, and I was like, man, I would love to check those amps, and I ended up playing the amps. I played the show with the Jackson amp. It was beautiful. And this is how everything started. And then Jackson started doing the pedals, making the pedals and all the good stuff. And we just continued the relationship. And last year, during the NAMM show, one of the guys approached me in one of like the last hour of the NAMM show. I was so tired, didn't want to go over business talk, but then they're so excited, and it kind of captivated me, and I was like, yeah, man, all right, let's keep this conversation going. And we ended up releasing a pedal together, and which is the Asabi,
right?
And it's actually over here, and yeah, it's been a good relationship.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, they're great pedals, and the Asabi is, man, what a versatile, incredible pedal.
Yeah.
But let's walk through your signal path here. So we've got you playing a Les Paul, which isn't your normal guitar, is it?
It is not. Well, actually,
well, you have a Supreme, don't you?
I do. Oh man, you did your homework, man. Because surprisingly, a lot of people don't know that, but my first real guitar was a Les Paul. It was a Gibson Les Paul Supreme 2009. I don't think they make those guitars anymore, unfortunately. But it was like my dream guitar. I always wanted to have that. And thankfully, I got the opportunity to have that guitar back in the days. And yeah, so I'm like a Les Paul guy,
Nice.
Since I started, I always had a Les Paul with me, and then things changed for a little bit. But yeah, so I'm thankful for you guys to let me use this. I believe it's a 54.
I think it's 54, yeah.
Les Paul reissue, and it just sounds phenomenal. It's a little different from the necks I normally play because this has like a thicker neck. But it's a great sound. It feels great to play it, and a little challenging, but I love it.
Right.
It's nice sometimes to fight a little bit with the instrument,
Yeah, we were talking about that. Does that change the way you what you play or how you approach playing?
Oh, absolutely. because I mainly play Sur guitars, and I believe like the strongest point of Sur is probably like the neck, and like it's just so comfortable. I think the comfy of having a Sur guitar is something inevitable. You associate Sur with the comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely changes a little bit the way how I approach it. You have to play a little stronger. Your right hand needs to stand up a little bit more. And even though, with P90s, it's just like a different, also the pickups, it's a very a new type of pickups for me as well. But yeah, it changes a little bit. The string action can be different, which is the case here right now. So, but I try to keep, my style in whatever guitar I have in my hands,
Right.
And this is a great weapon.
That is a very cool guitar.
Yeah.
And you're playing through a Soldano SLO today,
Yeah.
which is also a little different amp for you.
It is. Yeah, it's been, a lot of new stuff for this. So yeah, so we ended up using this for the presentations that we did, explaining the Asabi for you guys in the morning, and I ended up liking this amp a lot. So I was like, man, we should grab that amp again,
right?
Because it feels great to play. Is it like 100 watt?
I think that is 100 watt.
Yeah, and just like a 412, you have all the body, all the fat there, and I just love it how it fits, and it fits really nicely with a Les Paul and those Jackson pedals. So.
Sure. Well, I'm curious, how do you set the amp when it's dry? Could you turn all your pedals off and let's just hear the guitar through the amp?
Yeah. Well, the way. So this is how it sounds. I have the effects on, but. Well, so it's like whenever I grab a new amp, I try to put everything flat, and then according to how it sounds, I try to adjust and shape it to whatever makes me feel comfortable. So. On this case, I think it was a little bassy, especially playing, a Les Paul, and so I just turned the bass a little bit, but then I kept, the mids and treble on, right in the middle. So that's how I normally go for it.
Right.
Actually, I didn't touch the presence knob. It was actually good there, the way how it was. But that's how I normally go when it comes to setting up a tone from a new amp.
Right.
So everything.
So pretty clean, kind of almost on the point of breaking up, or do you like it completely clean?
Well, it depends, but for this, I did more like the clean. I don't normally go for that breakup thing. I know it could actually sound fantastic when you're playing a Stratocaster and just have a tube screamer going on. Those things, I really like it. I've been digging a lot of Philip Say's stuff, and he's like a heavy, intense guitar player, and I appreciate the sound, but I don't normally go for that because I actually don't play very loud, unfortunately. Well, my ears actually are thankful for that, but it's like I love that, but I kind of go for this kind of, ambience,
Right.
Very clean.
Right.
So it's not,
definitely clean. I mean? Yeah, definitely clean. So then what do you go into first on your pedal board?
So this is a very confusing question for me because I kind of go the opposite way.
Okay.
Whenever people ask me, so what do you
Okay, well, let's go the way you want to go then.
So it's always confusing because, people normally go say, this is like, I'll start with the fuzz, but it's actually, so for me, I always say, I have a reverb and then I go for a delay and so on,
Sure.
and I make that confusion, you know, it's kind of like top, bottom, like, oh, this is a bottom string, top string, whatever.
Right.
So it's also a language barrier. But anyways, would be okay if I start
However
with
you
the
want to go is
effects,
fine. Yep.
because I'll start with the effects because they are probably 99% on my playing. I don't actually turn this off.
Okay.
Well, when I'm playing my own stuff, and because sometimes when I have to play for an artist, for example Bruno, where it's just like a lot of comping and like funky and dance music, you kind of need to, you know, take away the reverb, especially the delay. But when I'm playing my own stuff, I have, you know, the reverb, I mean my effects, especially when it comes to reverb and delay, on all the time. So I'll start with the Flint, which is probably one of my favorite pedals ever. I wish they had an extra option to have like a second, you know, like a favorite preset or something like that. But it's a phenomenal pedal. I was into Strymon since like, I don't know, 2010, back in the days with like the Blue Sky.
Sure.
But then when they released the Flint, it was a game changer for me. And I just love, and I normally I go for like the 80s sound here. And it's kind of like, yeah, it has a lot of, you know, the atmosphere there, but I try to not get too much on the way of my playing, especially if you want to go like for some runs, fast runs and stuff. But it's a great pedal, man, for like, as I said, I try to have that on, you know, in all the time. So, so it's like, it's actually very like a considerable amount now, but I'll probably vary a little bit of like the decay, probably have a little bit towards like the middle, and the mix pretty much around there. I don't like messing around much about it because I forgot to mention this. This is like my travel board.
Okay.
Because I was in Brazil and I just had to do this quick gigs. So I was like, I have to go for a small pedal board this time. And, but I normally have 2 reverbs in my pedal board.
Okay.
It would be either Flint and, I don't know, like a Nunaber? Yeah, so like the wet, or either like an MXR reverb, which I like a lot, and well, it could vary a lot. There's a Warros reverb, which I like a lot as well. But yeah, but this is I cannot live without a Flint for now. So it's like, I love the way how it sounds, and also the tremolo. You know, it's a great option as well for those, you know. It just reminds me a lot of like because I'm kind of getting into like keys now, and I've been playing a Fender Rhodes. I bought a Fender Rhodes, and it has like the tremolo option stuff. So for me, when it comes to a tremolo effect in guitars, I try to, you know, imitate what like a Fender Rhodes would provide in terms of sound for me. So yeah, this is pretty much it. And then moving on, I have a Echoplex delay by MXR, Dunlop, and Scott from Dunlop hooked me up with this pedal. I was, you know, actually I didn't care much about what delay, you know, like if it's like a tape or analog, digital, whatever. It was just like, yeah, because for me, like the delay, the flavor of the delay is mostly just like just to have that 1 max to 2 repetitions, and it's just like for, again, to complement what the reverb does.
Okay.
So for me, it's very basic. But then when I got introduced to this pedal, which is amazing, I was like, oh, wow, it just got me because it has this warm flavor, especially when you press, because it has like I don't know much about how to explain this, but it has like this option here that makes the sound a little warmer, you know? So, you know what I mean? It kind of has like this vibration sound, and I love it how it, you know, how it manifests. So.
So the delay is almost more of your ambience, like your reverb, not so much a.
It's a compliment. It's like.
So you don't have to tap tempo that thing, because you can add a tap tempo switch to that.
I could.
To that pedal.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Ryan was asking me that, but again, this is a travel board, so in case if I had the chance, I'll probably have like a tap tempo for my main board.
Got it.
And I could adjust, you know, the tempo stuff. But when I only have the option to have just one effect, I'll go for Echoplex and just set up like this, you know, like I don't know, this would be probably like something in between like a 85 to 90 BPM kind of, and just 1 to 2 repeats max, you know, so that's probably it. And not too much volume as well, so it doesn't get, you know, too much on the way of my playing, you know?
Right.
It's just like, you know, kind of like a vocal delay effect, you know. You don't want to hear that going on for the whole phrase, you know. It's just like when you finish the sentence and then you see like that standing up, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like how I go for it.
That is one of the nice things about that particular pedal, the Echoplex, is that it sits behind your playing.
Pretty much.
While you're playing, and then it kind of opens up when you stop playing, which is very cool.
Was that actually like the main thing of the original Echoplex?
Yeah, the original Echoplex sat the same way because of the tape. The tonality of it was kind of dark, and it kind of sat behind and had that little bit of modulation.
Yeah, and you said a very important thing. I love the way how it's like. I'm a fan of like more like a darker sounds when it comes to effects, and the Echoplex has that kind of, you know, the warmth of it. So
yeah, nice.
And after that, we have the Golden Boy, which is a Jackson Audio Overdrive, a signature model by Joey. Sorry, I always say Joe, but it's Joey. And it's just amazing. I got into this Overdrive very recently, and this is my so this is like my very first of Overdrive for the chain, and it has a decent amount of drive, so it's more like for rhythm, open chords kind of thing.
Okay.
You know? Like for bluesy stuff as well, you know. So when it comes to solo, and I don't want to go that intense in terms of dynamics, I'll probably use have this, you know, when it becomes a little more quiet. And I use this more like for leads and like I would say like clean leads and you know, for open chords and like kind of like the strumming, but not too heavy, if that makes any sense. So I'll go for the Golden Boy for that. I don't normally use the boost because when it comes, in case if I want to have more distortion, I'll go for the Asabi. But this is like how I like to use the Golden Boy, you know? It's just for more like a open chords. So it's like, you know, I really, you know, dig the sound of this. And I normally set that in this purple color because this Overdrive kind of gives a variety of sounds, pretty much kind of like how the Asabi Bros So
Right.
I keep it on the purple color.
So you
And
can you can switch among the different clipping diodes.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
there, right? I mean, I think it's voiced a little bit differently too. It's not a like a tube screamer. I think it's more like a Marshall Governor. So it gives you a
Yeah.
little bit of that bite that Joey Landreth
Yeah,
uses so much.
exactly. So I normally keep that. Actually, well, because the Golden Boy was released before the Asabi, and I kind of like remember Brad Jackson saying about like, yeah, you should just check the reference, not the reference, but like we just released that pedal, and we'd love for you to check it out. And then he was pretty much like not based off it, but well, you kind of get the influence of it.
Right.
And Joe's such a good player. I love, his singing, and also he's a complete artist, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I want to go for this. And actually, I just realized I'm playing a Les Paul with P90s, which is like he also plays a P90 Les Paul, right? So yeah, man, big fan, bro.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
So yeah, so I set normally on this purple magnetic color. I don't know how it's all different names, whatever. But yeah, so that's my first overdrive of the chain. So it has the drive, but not too crazy,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not oversaturated. Nice and crunchy.
Exactly. For the crunch sound. And I'll go for my second overdrive / distortion pedal, which is my signature pedal with Jackson Audio called Asabi. And I'll start with the overdrive option. So this is more like a natural boost because, well, this is more like because I'm very like, I like to do a lot of fingerstyle and, like chord stuff, chord voicings. And when we were discussing about, oh man, the design of the pedal, I kind of wanted to have something that would fit, my style in a very logical way. And I don't normally play like total clean, like just like straight to the amp. Right. I always have, besides my effects, I always have like a transparent, clean overdrive behind it. So it's like, it's not full clean. I need to have that little, saturation kind of sound, which is not totally clean, but it's not like overdriven enough. So that's what when it comes to my overdrive and on the Asabi, I go for that type of situation. So I leave the more saturation drive on my Golden Boy. So, but for the Asabi, it's more like the let me play. I think it's better for me to explain it into that. So you don't see too much difference comparing these to the clean. It's kind of like a natural boost, like.
Right.
But it's like when you play a little stronger, a little heavier, you could notice. So it's more like that option. And the fact that I can combine both, like the overdrive and, the distortion and the overdrive together. So I just like to use that as a natural boost as well, because if I just crank up the drive much, it would be too busy. So for me, it's not how I like to roll it. But yeah, so this is the overdrive settings that I use on my Asabi. And then I'll move to the distortion side, and which is when it gets a little bit more aggressive, And I always skip this on the. I mean, I use actually the different flavors of it, but the orange color is my favorite. Okay. It's like that's my go-to, And it's I set it on the 75%. of the distortion level, like the gains and stuff. And yeah, so it sounds like this. It's kind of like, you know, the hard rock, kind of
Yeah,
like.
it's very amp-like. That amber diode. Again, there's 4 diodes under each of those switches.
Yeah.
And that amber diode is a real amp-like kind of a crunch to it, right?
Yeah, that's the color.
The higher gain. Yeah.
And thanks for explaining that better to me.
No,
myself, honestly.
not at all.
It's like,
I'm such a fan of this pedal because it does so much. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it
got
definitely
separate
does.
EQ for the 2 sides. You got 4 different modes for each side. You got all kinds of MIDI control and stuff.
Exactly,
Man, it's
yeah.
a crazy pedal.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I like to have the overdrive side on the Asabi very like quiet, it's, you know, because when in case I want to combine and have like an extra, you know, gain, you know, and I just use that and it sounds like this. So, you know, it's a nice blend.
Right.
I like the way how it goes if I make that combination going.
Yeah. Yeah, it really pushes that into a nice saturation.
Yeah, it adds a little mids, you know. It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, very versatile pedal.
Yeah.
This covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, it took a lot of time for us to work that out because that was so when the guys came to talk to me about having a signature pedal, that was right after NAMM last year, and then COVID hits and stuff,
Right.
and then I had to go back to Brazil, and we had to discuss a lot of things just through like Zoom or like Skype, whatever, FaceTime.
Right.
And it's hard, you know, to see like, yeah, I want it to sound like this, and you know, we had to ship a lot of stuff. They had to send a lot of things over Brazil, and customs there could be a little pain, you know.
Right.
But I'm very happy with the result of this pedal. It's just like a very versatile, you know, and I try to use that as much as possible.
Yeah.
And another thing I kind of wanted to have on that, it was because before the Asabi, I always had like at least like 3 overdrives, you know, to have like different layers. So I had that natural boost, then a little bit more overdriven sound, and then like a full distorted sound, and that would require at least like 3 pedals for that.
Right.
And now, thankfully, I have, you know, all that in one pedal, you know, especially like with the gain adjustments as well. So for me, it's just like, yeah, guys, I need that, you know, like the simplicity of having all of that. And one little box might be a little complex, but let's try it. And then these guys nailed the job. And then next, we have the Bloom, which is like a freaking machine because you have a boost plus a compressor and an EQ. So another thing I'd like to compliment is that, well, when it comes to compression, I gotta be very careful about it because I don't want to sound too, like, when you kind of notice, oh man, this is like super compressed. So I always try to go for a very like, how do I say, like in a very like decent, you know, amount of compression. So not too crazy, but also not, you know, because what's the point of having a compressor if you're just not, you know, at least like feeling that. So the fact that I play a lot of clean stuff kind of requires a little bit of like that extra help, because in terms of dynamics, sometimes, you know, you play something on clean tones, and it doesn't show up very much, especially like when it comes to harmonics and stuff. I always like to have the compressor on for, you know, in cases that I'm playing like an overdrive like this. So. So it kind of helps a lot.
Right. Yeah, I was noticing when you were playing the clean sounds, it's a very subtle compression. It kind of sits back behind there, which this pedal is so great at, because you can dial that back and compress things, but not have it sound squashed.
Absolutely. And well, this EQ option is could be very useful as well, because sometimes I miss, because on the overdrive of the Asabi, we only have like the tone option, and sometimes there's, depending on the amp and stuff, in case if I'm playing a gig which they don't have the amp I like, I might, you know, require some extra EQs. So the Bloom is a great option for that, because if I just do this, I could activate the EQ and compensate whatever is missing, you know, when it comes to having an overdrive. Right now it's actually super good, so I'm not using it. But, you know, I could use that for, you know, whatever situation, you know. And the Bloom, which is like just like the boost itself, I could use it, but as just like a natural boost as well. But since the fact that I have that option here, so I'm like, I don't touch it very much.
Right.
But it could fit really nicely too. So it's like, yeah.
Nice.
Love it.
And you could also use that to boost the drive side of the Asabi.
Could use that.
If you wanted to. So yeah, you got a lot of versatility there.
That's true. I forgot about that option. Well, that's a lot of stuff going on here.
Yes,
But
it
yeah,
is.
but yeah, and yeah. But normally when it comes to the Bloom, I use that for the compression. It's just like the guys did a really nice job, and having that blend option as well.
Right.
Which is like, I mean, in my particular opinion, this is like a must when it comes to compression. It's nice to balance those things, you know.
Yeah, right.
And the last, which is supposed to be the first, is the Fuzz, which again is a very recent pedal that the guys hooked me up with, and I'm not very familiar with fuzz sounds. I know this is a shame as a guitar player, but my goal for this is actually like, when it comes to this pedal, I'll just go for the octave stuff. And this is more for flavors, you know, like the Jimi Hendrix. Right now I'm not playing a Stratocaster, but you know what I'm saying? Like when you have that, the neck stuff and... Right now, we actually don't have much right now, but in case if I want to add a little bit extra. So, you know, just to have that little flavor,
Sure.
kind of like a pog or something, you know, but in a very more like saturated way. So. Yeah. So.
It's interesting that you run that into the compressor instead of the other way. Although most fuzzes respond better when the guitar plugs directly in, but so you're compressing the fuzz signal before it goes to the Asabi or the Golden Boy.
Well, I didn't know that, but thanks for letting me know, because probably in the next interview that chain might change a little bit. But yeah, so I normally play that.
Right.
That way.
Obviously, it works great. So
yeah.
I wouldn't change.
But, well, I'm getting into the fuzz world now, so.
Right.
Hopefully by, through the years, I could see that in my playing as well.
Right. Well, you have a lot of different flavors available in that pedal too. And that's one of the hallmarks of the Jackson Audio stuff is the super versatility that all those pedals have. So very cool, man. That board covers a lot of ground. A lot of different gain levels, a lot of different tones.
Absolutely, man. And again, especially when it comes to compression, I keep coming back to the boom, but it fits pretty nicely, in case because I was playing with Bruno, it's very like clean driven, and somehow you have to, the parts needs to stand up a little bit, Well, this is not the most appropriate guitar, but it's nice to have that little extra, like for those like brain sounds kind of, so.
Sure.
So it's nice to have that, and the compressor really helps a lot with this.
Right.
So yeah, all those varieties are very important, and it's making me very happy. It's helping me a lot as well.
Right. That's
during
great.
this time here in America. So.
Yeah. Right. So I have to ask you one more question.
Yeah.
That as much for myself as anything, yourself and Andre Nieri, you guys palm the pick almost more smoothly than just about anybody I've seen, the way you switch from pick to fingerstyle.
Yeah.
How do you hold the pick when you palm it, and how do you get it back and forth so fast?
Well, it's actually a natural thing. Well, I think Andre is probably because of like he's very into like the nylon Brazilian music style, and for me, I kind of got that probably like after getting into, I don't know, like John Mayer's music or Tommy Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm.
And the way how I normally do it, it's just like from, I don't know if this is a good angle, but I have this, and then I just kind of like go over this. I know Andre does in a different way.
Just little finger, yeah.
Yeah, but because like I go for like those regular, it's like big size.
Uh-huh.
And I just use my middle finger. And
You drop to the middle finger?
Like that. Yeah, there's some tricks about it. I'll probably release that in a master class, so I can't say much.
There you go. Save the secrets, man.
No, but like, but that's how I normally do it, you know? And the good thing about it, it's just like, because even with the pick like this, I still could use, like all the other fingers as well, So it's like.
It's an incredibly smooth transition between those.
It's hard to answer that actually, because I never thought of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hide the pick or whatever. But because I remember seeing like Carl Bernheim, he was a teacher at MI. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he still teaches there, but he was doing like this open counselings and stuff. And he uses like whenever he wants to play country stuff or different style, and he was just explaining about like how sometimes it's nice to have, because I think he normally like leaves the pick on his lap or whatever, like some people actually like just hold in the mouth and stuff. So I was like, yeah man, I want to be able to find a source to just keep the pick and then just get back.
Do both, yeah. Yeah, and then you also do hybrid picking as well, so you're kind of covering all three.
That's true.
Of those. So yeah, lots of different techniques available too.
Yeah, it's interesting. But again, like it ended up being a very natural way. Mm-hmm. And I didn't actually like plan about it. Oh, this is like my strategy or whatever. Right. But it's a cool question. Yeah, I got asked that kind of often. So.
Yeah, very cool. Man, thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with us and tell us about your approach to tone and your pedals and playing and everything, man. It's fantastic to have you here. It's been a real pleasure.
It's been my pleasure. It's a big honor to be here, and I'm very thankful for you to have, to spend your time with me, and very thankful for Sweetwater as well. So thank you guys for having me, and I hope I can see you guys very soon.
I hope you come back soon. Yeah, come
Absolutely,
back and
man.
do some more playing.
Yeah.
Great to see you here. Thank
Great
you.
to see you, man.
And thank you for joining us for What's on Your Pedalboard. I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater.
Thank you.